Chosen one, listen carefully to what I'm about to tell you, because right now, whether you have noticed it or not, there are 5 specific numbers tracking your steps, dogging your every move, whispering behind everything you touch. This is not coincidence. No, I am telling you, these numbers are marks of destiny branded in the invisible but felt in the practical, the tangible, the unexplainable patterns that keep showing up until you finally turn and say, God, what are you trying to show me? Let me take you inside what's really happening right now. Behind every strange repetition, every time a number flickers across your phone, your receipts, your emails, the digital clock at the worst hour of the night. Let me tell you about the first number, the one that keeps appearing as a signal that you are not forgotten, not overlooked, 111. Right now, as you wake up in the morning or turn your head in the car to check the clock and see 111, it's not just a random moment. It's a nudge, a gentle but insistent breath from heaven saying, you are still chosen for the new thing. Let me break this down for you. You open your inbox and there's an unread message at exactly 11:11 a.m. A silent trumpet sounding hope when hope feels thin. For many, this would be dismissed, but for you, someone battered by disappointments, someone who's had doors slam so hard the echo shakes your bones. This is God breaking through monotony, lighting a flare in your spiritual night. There are days you see 111 on an invoice that gets paid unexpectedly when you had already given up on that money. There are other times, right when a job seems lost, a call comes at 111 and suddenly an opportunity is revived. You think it can't matter, can't be real, but the frequency, the relentlessness, the uncanny timing says otherwise. Not just a number, but a covenant reminder, God saying, I am doing a new thing and you're the first in line. Watch me make a way where you saw none. That's what it means for the chosen. First fruit, new alignments, doors that open with no logical reason but divine timing. Now let me show you the second number. 222. It's the rhythm of agreement, the signature of joining forces in divine partnership. You see it on the license plate in the traffic jam, when you're late and stressed and somehow get green lights the rest of the way. It shows up on the check after a business dinner where you made the right connection, and it totals $22.20. Yes, right down to the pennies. This isn't random, chosen one. Right now, as you read this, heaven is orchestrating fresh alignments, friendships that don't take from you but add, contracts signed with integrity, not just gain. For too long, you've been surrounded by takers, by agreements that cost you more than you gained. But now 222 signals that balance is returning. Listen to me. You check your phone at the moment you're about to quit reaching out, and it's 2:22 p.m. You send a message and it gets delivered at 2:22 exactly. These moments are confirmations, heaven's partnership with you and the arrival of true help. Right now, the old alliances are being pruned, and the genuine ones, spiritual, financial, even relational, are being born. This is your sign to trust new partners, to believe restoration and collaboration are not only possible but promised. The era of trying to do it all alone ends here. Let me take you deeper, right into the third number, 333. The sign of completion, the visible watermark of being surrounded in the spirit, even when you feel encircled by trouble. The number 3 has always stood for fullness. Father, Son, Spirit, body, soul, mind, past, present, future. And when it appears triple, 333, it's as if the whole universe is declaring you are sealed, complete, covered top to bottom. Right now, you're fighting battles on more than one front. Worry about money, pain in your body that doctors can't explain. Friendships that feel hollow. Moments where the phone won't light up and the room feels too small. You wake in the middle of the night, 3:33 a.m., your heart pounding, sweat slick on your back. The dark presses in, questions racing. How much longer can I do this? Will tomorrow look any different? You scroll on your phone, you pace, you pray, but it's just words in the air. You take something to help you sleep, but it barely touches the edge. You lay there, fighting memories and regrets, wishing morning would bring relief, but even the sunrise feels paper thin. But suddenly you notice 333 again and again. The receipt at the store, the order number of your latest package, even the total of likes on your post. It's God's message. Nothing missing, nothing broken, nothing left unprotected. Not in you, not in your destiny, not in your legacy. It's both a promise and a frame, locking your life inside protection, completion, and a divine enough. He's saying, however incomplete you feel, you are being wrapped in wholeness, surrounded so completely that fear has nowhere to stick. You are not alone in the night or the day. The covering is real and it's permanent. Now let me explain the fourth number. 444. If you have ever felt like you are losing ground, constantly building only to see it fall apart, this number is your anchor. 4 is the number of foundation, corners, directions, pillars. When you see 444, especially when everything around you feels unstable, it's a supernatural reassurance. I am rebuilding the ruins. You missed out before. The job offer vanished, the house deal collapsed last minute, the money for tuition was there and then wasn't. Your name has been passed over so many times, your best plans have been bulldozed, but now 444 is the guarantee that the blocks are being laid, one on another, solid and straight, nothing shifting under your feet this time. You go to the bank, discouraged, only to see the waiting number, called is 444. Or the final tally on the bill you dreaded paying is somehow 444, more confirmation. God is working to make your footing secure. He's raising new structures, giving you strategy, discipline, favor with gatekeepers. For every area that you've been uprooted, for every place you lost stability, your living situation, your circle, your mental health, 444 is the number that follows you as heaven rebuilds, brick by brick, all that was razed by storms and hands of envy. This time, you will not just survive, you will flourish. What you build now will last. Finally, let me bring you face to face with the fifth number, 555, the call to radical, undeniable change. Not just little adjustments, but upheaval, movement, the sound of shackles falling and doors flying open. Sometimes, let's be honest, you've dreaded change because the things you loved were threatened. But this isn't that. This is freedom, breakout, movement where you felt chained for years. You'll see 555 when it's time for relocation, switching jobs, launching what you were scared to start, walking out of what can't be healed. You receive a message at 555 right after you finally admit you can't stay another day in a suffocating situation. You notice 555 on the odometer when leaving the place you thought you'd never escape. It's not coincidence. It's the Holy Spirit's nudge, urgency, readiness, forward motion. You prayed for comfort, but God gave you a wind to move you, to dislodge the old weights. You try to play it safe, to compromise, to make old patterns work, but nothing fits anymore. Change is non-negotiable. The chosen always outgrow where they started. God's saying, trust me and step. Amid it all, somewhere between these numbers, you live through that 3 a.m. pit. Let me take you inside it right now, down to the marrow. You open your eyes in the dark. Your tongue is dry, mouth sour. Every muscle aches from tossing, yet your brain is wired, overstimulated. Silence in the house, but your mind shouts, not again, not tonight, I can't do this. You throw the covers off. You check your phone, hoping, dreading, nothing. You try scrolling, news, social media, something to snatch you out of the spiral. It only makes it worse. You replay conversations, mistakes, everything you should have said or done differently. You try prayer, the desperate kind, bargaining, God, please, I'll do anything. But the fear doesn't answer to bargains. You think about old medicine bottles, leftovers from another season. You take one, but it doesn't touch this anxiety. The hours crawl. Blankets off, then on again. Your heart hammers, harder, then slower, almost too slow. You imagine worst-case scenarios. Losing the job, never paying the bills. Someone seeing how scared you really are. By the time morning light breaks, you feel no relief. You just feel hollow, exhausted, haunted. But listen to me, in that lowest hour, these heavenly numbers start showing up. They break the monotony of dread. Where your panic says trapped, the numbers whisper chosen. Where despair says nothing changes, the numbers push back. Change is coming. The moments feel trivial, but they're lifelines, steady and stubborn, prying you out of bed into the next day. Right now, as you hear these words, feel the shift. Every number, every repetition is a marker on your path, not a detour. You are noticed, aligned, completed, grounded, released. The numbers know your name. The signs found your life. The old panic is being replaced with divine signals. They wanted you to go crazy, but clarity broke through. They hoped you would quit, but resilience rewired you. They watched for your collapse, but foundation held you up. They set traps to keep you still, but you stepped out in freedom. They thought you'd never laugh again, but joy found its way back into your bones. Suddenly, overnight now, every number that followed you becomes a testimony, and every meaning is being fulfilled as you walk. All 5 numbers, all 5 meanings released. Heaven's sequence activated now, suddenly, overnight, forever. Chosen one. Even as you read these words, the world thinks they know your story. They think they've read the ending. They've mistaken your silence for surrender, your waiting for weakness, your breakdowns for breaking points. But right now, right at the turning of the page that nobody but heaven saw coming, something is shifting. The ones who whispered behind closed doors about your failures, the ones who counted you out, they have no clue what God was scripting in the background. You feel the weight, the near collapse. Yes, you remember the layoff notice, the message that never came, the friend who ghosted you the very moment you needed a lifeline. There were days the bills stacked so high you stopped opening the envelopes, days you pretended to be okay for everyone else while inside, your hope was paper thin, almost see-through. You said, "Is this all there's going to be for me?" But the voice within you refused to shut off. It kept pulsing like a secret undercurrent. The numbers multiplied, the patterns intensified, and every time you thought there was nothing left, a sign would catch you off guard and remind you. Your story is unfinished and your outcome is not decided by their predictions. Let me show you what real reversal looks like for the chosen. Suddenly, overnight, the same places that mocked your struggle begin to take notice of your peace. Not just surface-level calm, but a steady authority that confuses those who watched you flounder before. There's a new job offer, one you never interviewed for, one that lands in your inbox out of nowhere. The very week your last paycheck ran dry, an unexpected deposit, a refund, a gift, an old debt suddenly repaid, shows up right on time. The people who doubted you can't explain it. They shake their heads, wonder about your luck. But you know better. You know it's not luck. It's redemption in public view. The apology you never thought you'd get slides into your messages, and it's real this time, full of admission and regret. The family member who used to question your choices, who would undermine your faith in every conversation, begins to ask for your advice, your prayer, your covering. The doors that locked in your face are now swinging open, sometimes without you even knocking, sometimes with your name highlighted in the invitation. Let me tell you the real meaning of reversal. It's not just that your fortunes change, but the very soil that rejected you now fights to nurture your growth. Places that were hostile become safe ground. People who walked out now watch, unable to move forward themselves without reckoning with how they treated you. This vindication goes deeper than just being right or getting even. It's the healing of your reputation in rooms where you don't even sit. The rumors began to clear. Your name, once tied to failure or drama, is spoken with curiosity, even respect. The project they sabotaged, someone else resurrects it from the ashes and offers you ownership. The gates that barred your entry, ministries, businesses, communities, are now reaching out. Because the anointing on your life is undeniable. You get texts from people who never answered your calls before. You hear your name floated as the only one who can solve a problem, fill a position, bring breakthrough. Let me take you inside the corridors of decision where your name is being whispered. Not in gossip, but in longing hope. They want what you carry. They see the difference even if they won't admit it out loud. Right now, as eyes are turning, remember what it cost. Do not despise the nights when you walked the floor alone. Do not belittle the days you had nothing to show for your labor but tears. Do not forget how close you came to walking away. Because all of it, every unanswered prayer, every setback, set the stage for this hour of public restoration. But vindication is not just for display. It's a recommissioning, a holy assignment handed back to you. Not the crumbs, but the keys. You bear the charge to build with what crushed you. The sorrow is over, but the wisdom it formed in you is permanent. The friends who failed you, now you are sent to lead others through their own betrayals with real compassion, not judgment. The bankruptcy or layoff. Now you are positioned to start something from scratch, but this time you hold the blueprints. Your nights of crying out for healing make you a living sign. As you walk into sick rooms, the atmosphere shifts, bodies respond, peace quiets, panic, not because you're magic, but because you've lived through what they fear. Your voice carries authority now. The numbers, those irreversible markers of selection, have not just followed you, they've branded leadership into you. This new commission is not optional. When the phone call comes asking you to speak, to teach, to serve in rooms you once felt too small for, you take the invitation because now you see that God meant every promise. The assignments look bigger, but so is your capacity. Let me take you into the new territory that's opening overnight. You see favor tracking you in details so small you'd miss them if you weren't awake. The right parking spot when you're late. The signature going through when technical issues should have blocked it. The patient receiving a good report after months of nothing but bad news. You notice the patterns. The children who couldn't sleep before now rest through the night. The mentor who once forgot your name now shares your breakthrough with their whole network. Money starts coming through unexpected channels. You sell something quickly, your Cash App pings at just the time you were about to overdraft. The phone call that used to bring dread now brings solution. You find the right therapist, the right doctor, the right business partner, not because you hustled, but because destiny arrives at the right time. You laugh about things that once made you cry. You see your reflection and you don't shrink away. You see a resilience that wasn't there a year ago. You notice it in the way people look at you, listen to you. They sense you carry something else, something tested by fire and not for sale at any price. Let me explain why this blessing is not a one-off or a lucky break. What's been unlocked in you now flows out to everyone attached to your name, your children, your siblings, even your community. That spirit of poverty breaking off you breaks off those connected to you. The curse of rejection that seemed generational gets interrupted with your restoration. You walk into rooms and the trajectory shifts for others. What was once stuck now has movement. What was once blocked now has a path. You are the opening, the way through. Your yes to God's signals and numbers has made you the anchor in your circle. Those who tried to use you, drain you, write your narrative are flustered. They can't read your steps anymore. The old tricks don't work. You're unpredictable, led by signals not of this earth. You don't chase after those who left. You don't beg people to stay. Something in you settled. You're no longer desperate for doors. Doors are desperate for you. The storyline is flipped. Let me show you what to expect as you step further into commissioned living. Envy will rise, confusion will swirl, but your peace will anchor you. Where there was anxiety, now you sense instructions. Instead of panicking at every bill or diagnosis, you hear, wait, watch, trust, and it works. The delays become divine. The no's turn into new. The people you help now are not the ones who drained you, but those who mirror your process, hungry, bruised, but willing. You hear God's voice in traffic, in laughter, in silence. You notice divine appointments at the grocery store, in elevators, on chance calls. Dreams that were buried start bubbling back up. You apply for opportunities that outpace your old fear. You quit jobs that once defined you to take roles that feel risky but deeply right. The 3 a.m. panic no longer haunts but becomes a watchtower. You sense when angels move, when direction shifts, when to wait, and when to leap. You do not compulsively explain yourself. Your results speak, and this is what sets you apart now. The ability to weather storms with composure that disarms your detractors. They watch, hoping for a stumble, waiting for you to collapse under pressure, but it never happens. You are steady. Even when shaken, you reset faster. The losses don't have the same sting. The betrayals don't leave deep wounds. They become proofs of discernment. Your time alone now feels full, not empty. Rest becomes your normal instead of exhaustion. The numbers still track you, but now you track them too. You know what they mean. You pull hope from each encounter. The whole landscape of your life is arranged by divine hands. What once looked like loss was set up for abundance. Chosen one, hear this closing decree as you stand at this threshold. They wanted you silenced, but now your story is a broadcast. They counted you broken, but heaven returned you restored. They dismissed your prayers, but now your hands carry answers. They shut the doors, but now corridors of favor stretch out in every direction. They planned your end, but God rewrote your beginning. They called you unlucky, but now luck bows to blessing. They wrote you out, but heaven wrote you in. Suddenly, overnight, in public and in private, vindication is yours, reversal is yours, the commission is sealed, the next chapter is open. All 5 numbers operating, all meanings embodied, all patterns shifting toward your victory. Watch now as what followed you in mystery crowns you in open testimony. This is the hour. Chosen, established, unstoppable. Now, suddenly, overnight, and forever. Chosen one. Lean in, because the fullness of reversal is crashing in like a tide that will not be turned back. The stories they told about you are dissolving. The things you thought would haunt you forever. The moments that felt etched in the public mind. Hear me, they are being blotted out, not revised, but erased. Right now, not next month, not after one more lesson, but now. Heaven is setting witnesses before you to see the very reverse of what they planned at your expense. Let me show you the quiet ways it begins. The landlord who dismissed your late rent now obliges you, extending favor you never thought you'd earn. The colleagues who gossiped at break rooms, trading stories about your missteps, are finding themselves without words as your solutions change the atmosphere, as clients choose you, as bosses signal you out for greater trust. The people who closed their circles in your face, who once formed alliances to push you to the margins, now linger in the background, watching for your response. And you don't need revenge. You have been given the upper hand, not in the cutthroat way of the world, but in the silent authority of transformation. Their games lose power. Where they hoped for your bitterness, your heart turns soft, your patience stretches, your capacity for forgiveness startles even you. I need you to see that this reversal is not just public, but it's also deeply private. There are breakages only you and God know, the savings wiped out by a sickness, the moments you borrowed and wept because you were too ashamed to ask for help. The time you hid how close you were to giving up because you didn't want to scare the people who still believed in you. Now, right now, as these words find you, the shame is leaking away, ebbing like a wound, closing up slow but sure. You detect the difference. Where there was panic as bills came due, there is strategy, insight, small doors opening that widen as you step with courage. Where you avoided the mirror for fear of what you'd see, now your shoulders draw back, your eyes steady, because you know the story isn't one of collapse but of rising. The reversal is that your pain becomes your credential, your loss becomes your leverage, and there will be no more wasted seasons. Vindication is working on levels you can barely grasp until the evidence lands in your hands. That supervisor who only saw your faults now writes a reference you never expected, describing you as essential, steady, irreplaceable. Old voices start to speak up in places you've never been, recounting your wisdom, your integrity. You hear your story recited accurately from the mouths of people who once misunderstood you, and you know, truly, this is the Lord repaying you in the view of all who watched and judged. It is vindication when the contract you lost last year is replaced by an offer twice as large, with partners twice as honest. It is vindication when the tables turn and others seek your forgiveness, not to use you again, but because they feel the weight of what they did. Some will never admit it to your face, but you'll know by the way they treat you, cautious, deferential, hoping to stay in the overflow of your mercy. Let me bring you into the realm of platform, where vindication has made your name a key, not a curse. There are invitations coming with your name not just printed but circled in ink. People will ask how you got the appointment, how your work spread across circles you have never entered, how you were chosen for the very place where you once weren't even considered. They will ask, some with awe, some with malice, but none able to deny. Your anointing is visible now, inescapable. You stand in rooms once forbidden and hear not skepticism but gratitude. We're so glad you're here. The favor is not just shallow preference, it's deep recognition. You are finally seen for what you survived, for what you carried when no one knew the weight. And every time you're tempted to shrink back, remember, you do not owe your presence to anyone's understanding. You are here by release from heaven, not negotiation with man. They have to make space now. The room expands for you. But with this vindication comes a holy call, one you never signed up for but were always fitted for. This is your commission. God is setting you in place, calling you out from among the overlooked and underestimated. The same hands that cleaned up broken glass are now trusted to handle treasures. The same feet that walked shame-stained floors now tread on new ground, a territory of influence, wisdom, generosity. You are sent, not scattered. The wilderness was your preparation, and now the assignment is clear. Lead those who can't see a way. Feed those who barely make it through night. Shelter the ones who don't have the strength to stand on their own. You do not take on their pain as a martyr, but as one who carries bread. Where you once apologized for your presence, now you take up space without shrinking. When others groan or grumble, you speak clarity, hope, strategy. Let me show you a day in the new field God has assigned. The meetings that used to make you anxious are now places of breakthrough. People look to you in tension and you resolve it with grace. The new team studies your manner, seeing calm under pressure and learning it can be done differently. At home, where communication was strained and silent, you find yourself asked for counsel. Your children, your partner, even estranged family circling back, drawn not just by familiarity but by the sense that the atmosphere in your life is changed. Finances stabilize, not in a shower of wealth but with a consistent multiplying overflow. There are surprises, refunds for past overpayments, forgotten investments maturing just in time, clients recommending you without being asked. Health shifts slowly, then suddenly. You wake with more energy, the treatments work, the exhaustion begins to lift. And hope is not just a feeling, but a fact. The people closest to you stand taller because of your covering. Your authority breeds confidence, not intimidation. Let's walk into your commission further, where your history becomes hope for a tribe that watches you from afar. You speak into broken lives, not theory, but testimony. You walk among those who once despised your process, and they receive from you because what you carry is too real to reject. Grants get approved, projects find funding. The dreams that once had to be buried are resurrected under your leadership. You speak and others move. Doors open for them because you stood your ground in places of panic during those 3 a.m. nights. Now others call on you not just to pray, but to partner, to build, to write, to heal. The influence you prayed for, God hands it to you not for prestige, but for purpose. Your wounds become wells. Your night seasons become navigation for others in stormy waters. And you will notice the tests come, but differently now. Not to break you, but to refine your leadership. New attacks seem more public, the gossip more sophisticated, the stakes higher. But peace sits on you like a shield. You are moved by instructions, not insecurity. In moments of conflict, you hear the old voices rise, but they fade fast. The new voice, God's, steady and unmistakable, clarifies your steps. Opportunities multiply, and you don't grab at them with desperation. You discern, you choose. The spirit of scarcity is broken. Where others hoard, you give. Where they hurry, you wait. Where they doubt, you testify. Now listen as heaven draws the ark to a close, a decree stacking over you that cannot be silenced. They buried your name, but now it grows roots across the territory. They laughed at your hope, but now hope is contagious wherever you go. They constructed obstacles, but you walk over every blockage as if it was only a stepping stone. They disregarded your tears, but your joy is now public celebration. They wish to witness your ruin, but they stand helpless as your recovery is broadcast. They circled the wagons to shut you out, but you are flanked by angels, by destiny, by open gates. They minimized your history, but heaven magnified your future. They orchestrated your isolation, but now divine connections multiply around you. They wanted you hidden, but God called you a city on a hill, light not covered or constrained. They profited from your lack, but now you prosper and all attached to you rise as well. Suddenly, overnight, public reversal, silent vindication, a commission unstoppable. The numbers keep following, the meanings now made flesh in your journey. All plans of darkness unraveled, all words of defeat overturned, every assignment God gave you made fruitful. The sealing is done, the testimony is established, move forward, chosen and appointed now, right now, suddenly, overnight, for all to see. Chosen one, there is a reason the resistance was relentless, why opposition seemed to crawl out of every corner as soon as you gained even an inch of peace. When you were closest to transition, the air grew thick. Unexplained delays multiplied. Suddenly, former friends went silent, old allies turned vague. Answers that once came easy became confused. Even the simplest things, a payment, a promise, a routine, door jammed shut without cause. You wondered, is it me? But this was the enemy fracturing, a last-ditch chaos before order would finally break through. When the patterns of delay became predictable, you started to spot the signal buried under the static. You were being fiercely opposed because the tipping point was already here, just under the surface. Forced out of old circles and comfort, you went deeper, into prayer, into solitude, into listening for instruction that cannot be purchased or imitated. The reversal began in silence. The voices that had power over you, critics, doubters, managers, and relatives who never saw your worth, lost access. Their words no longer rooted in you, no longer defining your next move or subtle fears. where once your insides twisted at a message or a cold glance, now a holy disinterest settles in. The need for validation withers. The longing for applause goes quiet. You feel it first in your body. Your jaw unclenches when you walk into rooms that used to make you shrink. Your chest feels lighter, not dragging the weight of judgment. The reversal is not measured by grand gestures, but by all the small ways you simply stop breaking yourself to please those who never intended to understand you. Your quiet yes to yourself, to God, becomes your new momentum. You realize you owe them nothing, and you owe heaven your full allegiance. Let them question. Let them doubt. Vindication is not an argument. It is the fruit you bear when you refuse to bend. The evidence gathers slowly, then all at once. The new leaders at work appreciate not just your skill, but your character. Doors are unlocked that were welded before, and your name comes up for opportunity after opportunity. Not out of pity, but respect. Recommendations are given, not asked for. Circles that shut you out suddenly ask your opinion, not just on projects, but on people and decisions too important to trust with casual hands. You receive invitations, coffee with the one who overlooked you, a seat at a strategic table, a call from someone you never thought would know your name. The money that was long held back is released, the refund long forgotten. A legal matter turns in your best interest. A score evened up, restitution for loss you chalked up as gone. It is vindication without violence, restoration without retaliation. God does what apologies and explanations never could. When this vindication reaches your name and presence, something permanent snaps into place. The old cycle of being almost chosen or almost seen evaporates. Now you are the answer, not the afterthought. People notice when you're missing. Your absence is felt not because you served silently, but because your wisdom, your tenacity, your resilience remade the landscape. Others find the courage to speak up, to rise because you model it. The room feels stronger because you are in it. Even those who hurt you in time will acknowledge, if only privately, that their world is poorer when you are not present. And for the first time, you don't minimize your impact. You see it, you honor it, you hold it as part of your inheritance. Vindication is not just being right, it is the freedom to belong, to contribute without apology, to be anchored no matter the circumstance. But heaven didn't reverse your story only for your comfort. This is the hour of commission. The weight now shifts from why me to what next. You see the open terrain ahead, the absence of the barricades that held you back so long, and what once would have paralyzed you with doubt now fills you with willingness. God did not send the 5 numbers, the relentless markers of approval, just so you would settle and retire. No, the commission is clear. You are to break generational ceilings, to speak where the silence once choked hope, to invest in others with the wisdom won by wounds, the kind that can't be taught in classrooms or faked by repetition. The ones who gather around you now are ready for realness, not hype. They want to know how you survived, how you rebuilt peace from ashes. You carry this commission into every practical place. The way you show up at work, the way you listen at home, the simple act of giving a patient word at a checkout or a firm no to boundaries that once cost you sleep. You will feel the call stretch and unsettle you, even after the old trauma has faded. New rooms mean new risks, but every time you feel unqualified, you remember the coldness of being dismissed, the sting of being last. Every time imposter syndrome hisses that you don't belong, the numbers 111, 222, 333, 444, 555 appear before you, reminders that heaven already commissioned you, that no other jury matters. You walk in, knowing God didn't bring you this far to watch you fumble. Your daily routines shift. Journal entries become blueprints. Morning walks become divine appointments. The random urge to check in on a hurting friend becomes a lifeline they later thank you for. You grow strategic and soft at once. You learn the language of lifting others while staying clear-eyed about who is ready and who is not. You choose your battles, your investments, your yes, because you are done being all things for everyone. The new power in this assignment is that your faith and your story are transferable. You find yourself drawn to those at their own midnight. Young leaders, creative ones, parents lost in their own tidal wave of responsibility. You pour into what reaches beyond you, creating ripples and bonds that no slander, no delay, no weapon can break. You teach by example, how to start again, how to trust themselves, how to discern the whispers of heaven from the scripts of men. Where despair once broke generations, hope now multiplies. Where unforgiveness poisoned your circle, release now heals. Where pettiness reigned, you model maturity. Your wins are not just for you, they're contagious, communal. What you suffered makes you safe for others to confess, try, fail, and rise again. Alongside all this, you begin to dream again, not as distraction, but as holy blueprint. The visions you packed away as childish or unrealistic. Starting a business, writing a book, adopting, serving overseas, building a home for others begin to stir. Every time you risk, you see confirmation. The number on the confirmation email, the timestamp on a supportive message, the amounts that match your urgent need, even random signs, a stranger's, encouragement, a chance encounter, a path that opens after rejection, echo the commission's favor. You move with courage, not caution. Your heart, once afraid to ask for anything, begins to cry for the impossible, and to believe what you once dismissed as too much. And now, chosen one, stand steady as this final decree rolls over your life. They wanted you lost, but purpose found you. They set traps to tether your feet to regret, but freedom marked your footsteps. They predicted another failure, but you are flourishing in places no one expected you to survive. They wrote scripts for your silence, but your words are now seeds, your songs anthems of new journeys. They spent their breath on curses, but your blessing outlasts them all. They denied you space, but now you enter filled rooms and make room for others. They rehearsed your story as a warning, but now your life twists into a headline of hope, of mercy, of restoration impossible without God. Every blocked road is now a landing strip. Every lost year is now redeemed in double harvest. Every anxious night becomes a monument to a God who does not waste tears but seeds the future with them. Your commission is sealed in public and private, on earth and in the spirit. Now, right now, suddenly, overnight, the reversal is complete, the vindication undeniable, the commission active. The numbers still follow, but now you lead, blazing a path others can brave. It is finished, it is begun, it is yours.